So in today's session, we are going to discuss about the most important feature and a major feature in Salesforce configuration, that is relationship. So what exactly the relationships and what is the use? Why should we go for the relationship feature in Salesforce? And what kind of associations that we can map between the objects, and why do we need to map the association between the objects? Why can't we store the entire data inside a single object? And if I'm storing the whole data inside a single object, then what kind of problems will get arised? And how can we sort out the problems with the help of these relationships? And then upon mapping the association, what kind of principles that we need to follow? And what type of relationships that we can map in Salesforce? And what are the various data types Salesforce has given to us? And what kind of behaviors and the functionalities will be offering by each and every relationship type we see practically today here. So it's a big topic basically, which will take completely 4 to 5 sessions, and which is most important as well. As part of interview, as part of implementation, it's a major feature. Every point is important as part of these relationships. Now, first we'll see. So what exactly the relationship in Salesforce and how to map? For example, assume that I have an organization. In my organization, totally some 10,000 employees. So we have some 10,000 employees inside my organization. So 10,000 employees are working in my organization and who are working to my who are serving to my customers. Now, so all these 10,000 employees are working in the various departments. So out of these 10,000 people, 7,000 people are working in the sales department, which is available in some Hyderabad location. And then 2,000 people are working in the service department, which is in some Chennai location. And 1,000 employees are working in the marketing department, which is available in the Bangalore location. So these are the 3 departments are there as part of my organization, and then all these 10,000 people are working in these departments. So out of this 10,000, 7,000 people are working in the sales department, which is in Hyderabad location. 2,000 employees are working in the service department, which is there in Chennai location. 1,000 people are working in marketing department, which is in Bangalore location. These are the 3 departments are there. Now all these 10,000 people are working very fine. Now in this case, where we can store my data? Do I need to maintain a single table to store this whole information, or do I need to maintain multiple? If I'm storing the data inside a single table, my entire application related data, my entire employees related data, if I'm storing inside a single table, then what is the problem in this case? What kind of problems will get arised? And then how can we sort out those problems with the help of a feature called a relationship? We'll see practically now. Now, so in order to store all my employees' information, I would like to have an employee table. That means I would like to have one employee object. In this employee object, I would like to store all these 10,000 employee details along with their departments and everything. Now, for example, so this is my employee object where I'm storing the whole details of my employees inside a single table, and we'll see what kind of problems will get arised. Now, so now this is my employee table where I'm having some set of columns like as employee ID column, name column, age, salary of the employee, his contact number, department name, and the location. So now these are the various columns are available. So all these 10,000 employees information I'm storing inside this table over here, one by one, one by one, one by one. And then there is the first employee, some Ramesh Kumar. He is working in some sales department which is in Hyderabad location. Second employee, Pawan Kumar, working in sales department which is in Hyderabad location. Third person, Suresh Kumar, is working in service department which is in Chennai location. Fourth one, some Preeti, working in marketing department in the Bangalore. Like that, all these employees' information I'm storing inside a single table. That means my whole application data I would like to maintain inside a single table. So now here in this case, if I'm storing the whole data of my application or my employees inside a single table, then what is the problem? What kind of problems will get arised? Now let's see practically here. In this case, for example, so whenever a new employee is going to be joining into my company, and during that onboarding date or during the joining date, we are collecting so many details of that employee, like as the employee personal details, his contact number details, his address information, his family member details as well to provide the insurance, and his bank account details, his education details, past experience details, project details, so many information we are collecting. So now that whole information I would like to store inside a single table. So that here I would like to create so many number of columns keep on. To store this whole information, I'm creating so many columns over here. Now, now tell me how many columns can we create inside a table? Do we have any limitation? Or can I create unlimited number of columns inside a table? Take any database, whatever. It may be Oracle, SQL Server, whatever, anything. You can take any database. In order to store all my employees' information, I would like to use a single table. Now, if I'm storing this whole details inside a single table, what kind of problems will get arised? So whenever I'm storing this whole data inside a single table, then we have to create so many number of columns. But whenever I'm going to be creating the columns inside my table, there is some limitation. You can take any database also. It may be Oracle, it may be SQL Server, whatever. Now, database have given some limitations. The first limitation is the first one is the number of columns limitation. Number of columns limitation that a table can have maximum of 1024 columns, not more than that. That is the limitation given by every database. It may be Oracle, it may be SQL Server, Teradata, any database, whatever we have. Every database will allow you to create maximum of 1024 columns inside this. Suppose, for example, to store all my employees' information, I have created so many columns. So at a time, at a certain point of time, I may be reaching to the 1024 columns. And then afterward, in future, I would like to store some more data of my employee. So that I would like to add one more column. Okay, I would like to add one more column. Now tell me, can I create one more column at that time, 1025th column? No. Database won't support, database won't allow. I can't create more than 1024 columns inside a table. When you try to create the 1025th column, then automatically database will not be giving any support to you. This is the first problem whenever I'm storing the whole data inside a single table. To store that whole information, we need to create so many number of columns. At that time, database won't allow you to create more number of columns inside a table. It will allow you to create maximum of 1024 columns only, not more than that. Now, this is the first problem. Next, the second problem. So now inside my employee, totally some 10,000 people are there. Out of these 10,000 people, 7,000 people are working in the sales department. Okay, 7,000 people are working in the sales department. Now in this case, for the 7,000 records, department name will be what? Sales. Like as first employee, sales. Second one, sales. Third one, sales. Fourth one, sales. Like that up to, for 7,000 records, it will be having the department name as sales. So that means what? 7,000 times this department name sales will be keep on repeating over here. 7,000 times this department name sales will be keep on repeating. And in at the same time, along with the department name, we are storing the location of the department also. So that this Hyderabad also keep on repeating for how many times? 7,000. Because we are having the sales department only in one place, that is in Hyderabad. So that here, this department name sales is keep on repeating 7,000 times, and the location is keep on repeating some 7,000 times. And like the similar way, 2,000 people are working in the service department. So department name service will be keep on repeating for 2,000 times, and the location, that is Chennai, will be repeating for 2,000 times. Suppose if I am storing along with the location, if I am storing some state also, along with the city, I am storing some state column also here. In this case, state I am storing for the Hyderabad. So now the state will be the Telangana. So now here Telangana will be repeating for 7,000 times. Tamil Nadu will be repeating for 2,000 times. If I am storing that, if I am going adding one more column like some country, at that time country will be India. So India will be repeating how many times? Up to 10,000 times. That means what? The same values keep on repeating inside my table. Even though the value may be same or value may be different, definitely database will occupy some memory to store this value, right? Yes. It won't bother about what value you are storing. It will be allocating some memory to store that value. So in this case, what happened? The same values keep on we are storing inside my table, okay, which will be occupying some more memory. To store the same value again and again and again, and keep on allocating the memory, so which is causing some issue, which is occupying some more memory over here. So because of that here, we can't store some more data. This is the second problem. That means here, whenever I'm going to storing the whole information of my application inside a single table, the second problem is redundancy. That means duplication. The same data will be keep on storing inside my table again and again and again. So the second problem will be getting arised as redundancy problem or the duplication problem. Duplicate data will be keep on storing inside my table here. This is the second problem. Redundancy problem and the duplication. Duplication of data. Next, the third problem. Now, in this case, for example, I'm keep on creating so many number of columns inside my table to store the whole information. I'm creating so many columns here. Assume that some 1024 columns. Okay, 1024 columns are there inside my table. Now, upon creating a new record inside my table, I need to pass a value for all these 1024 columns, right? Of course, some optional fields may be there, fine, no problem. But for the remaining fields, we need to provide the value. Now, in this case, what will happen? We need to design a user interface. So we need to design a user interface. There we need to place all the 1024 columns, text boxes over here. So now at that time, it will be the user interface will be looking like very big. Okay, at that time, the user interface will be looking like very big. And in this case here, I'm creating a new record. So now we are having 1024 text boxes are there. Now tell me how much time it will take to enter the value in 1024 text boxes. Will it take minimum 2 hours or not? Yes. It will take minimum 2 hours of time to enter the value for all the 1024 columns over here. So in this case, for example, I spent some 2 hours of time. I have entered the data in all the text boxes. In all the 1024 text boxes, I have entered the data. Now when I about to click on save button, suddenly my system has been shut down. Suddenly power went off, my system has been shut down. Within 5 minutes, the power came back and then I have restarted my system. Then when you open that website user interface, then what about the data which I have entered? The data will be available or the data will lost? Data will lost automatically. Data will not be available. So in this case, to create the record again, we have to enter the same data, right? Then how long time we need to spend some time again 2 hours. In the next 2 hours also, there is no guarantee that power won't went off. So in this case, what happened? Upon managing the records, it is causing some issues. Okay. The third problem is, whenever we are managing the records, it is causing some issues here. Causes issues upon managing the records. So it is causing the issues upon managing the records. Now, the third problem which it has causes is, upon managing the records inside those objects, it is causing some issues. Like, the user has to enter the data in all the fields upon creating a record, so which will take some more time. So in this case, all the times, the users may not be having the patience to enter the data in all the fields. That is the first problem here. And then, the next problem is performance issues. Performance issues. That means whenever I'm going to be managing the records inside this object by maintaining some more number of columns, at that time, upon searching for records, it will take more time. Okay, upon searching for the records, based on a specific column, it will take more time. So these are the various issues will be getting arise whenever I'm going to be storing the whole data of my application inside a single table. So now to avoid this problem, So now as part of database, we have introduced a feature called as normalization. Normalization. So what do you mean by normalization? Normalization is used to split the data. Normalizing in the sense what? Splitting. That means dividing. Now in this case, whenever I'm storing the whole data of my application inside a single table, it is causing these four major issues. So now to avoid these kind of problems, now instead of storing the whole data inside a single table, I would like to store this data into the multiple tables. I would like to split the data to the multiple tables here. So for that one, they have introduced a feature called as normalization, which allows you to divide the data, which allows you to split the data from one table to multiple tables. So now in this case, what happened? Whenever I'm going to splitting the data from one table to multiple tables, then whatever the data that I have entered, my data should not loss. Even one character also it should not loss. Because data is asset for the business, data is asset for the organization. So losing the data means losing the business, losing the revenue, losing the profit also. So for that one here, I don't want to lose my data. For that one, they have introduced a feature called as normalization. Normalization means what here? Non-loss decomposition of data. Decomposition of data into different tables. Normalization means the non-loss decomposition of data into different tables is called as normalization. That means instead of holding the whole data inside a single table, then we need to divide the data to the multiple tables over here. Then, so whenever I'm going to be dividing the data to the multiple tables without any data loss, then how can we split? So for that one, if you want to split the data to the multiple tables without any data loss, then we have to follow some rules. So as part of normalization, they have given some set of rules to you, which we need to follow upon splitting the data from one table to multiple tables. Then what kind of rules are available? Those rules are called as the normal forms. Those rules are called as normal forms. So now normal forms are nothing but the various rules which we need to follow upon splitting the data from one table to multiple tables. So in this case, as part of database, we are having the various normal forms are available. First normal form, second normal form, third normal form, bisecond normal form, fourth normal form, fifth normal form, and the joint key normal form. So these are the various normal forms are available as part of my database over here. Okay, as part of my database, these are the various normal forms are available. That means these are the various rules or the principles or the guidelines which we need to follow upon splitting the data from one table to multiple tables. Now, in this case, whenever you are building any implementation, whenever you are building any project as part of your real-time implementation, every real-time project's database should be designed with a minimum with a third normal form. Every database design should be designed minimum with the third normal form. Here it's a fundamental principle. Whenever you are whenever you are managing some millions of records or some billions of records, at that time we are using some data warehousing tools. Every data warehousing tools database should be designed with minimum with the fifth normal form. So that here should be having some more principles to avoid that data losses. These are some principles are available. Then how can we split the data over here? So now in order to split the data from one table to multiple tables, okay, in order to split the data from one table to multiple tables, then what we can do? As part of my database, as part of my information. So these are the various information is there inside my table. Then how can you split? In this table, whatever the repeated information is available, okay, whatever the repeated information is available, that repeated information I would like to split into a separate table over here. Then what is the repeated information? Department name is keep on repeating and the location is keep on repeating over here. So that I would like to split this information to a separate table. So for that one, what I want to do is I would like to split this data here. I would like to split this data to a separate column, separate table over here. Okay, I would like to split this information to a separate table. So now employee table is separate, and then the remaining information is separate. So now here in this case here, for this table I am giving a name called as some department. I am giving a name for this table called as department. Assume that this is a department object, which is holding all the department's information. Which is holding all the department's information inside this object here. So now in this case, instead of identifying each and every department by using a name, I would like to identify these departments by using the ID. So for that one, for every department, I would like to allocate one unique identification number. For that one, I'm adding one more column inside my department table to allocate the ID for that each and every department. Now, the same department names I don't want to keep on repeat again and again and again. So for that one here, I'm going to be removing this repeated information. Sales I don't want again. And I would like to have the service and the marketing. I'm placing it over here. Now, so now here I'm assigning the department ID here for the sales department. So here the department ID column I would like to have. So now for the sales department, I'm going to be allocating some ID over here. That is some 101 or some 401. Service department, I'm allocating one more ID over here. For the service department, 402. For the marketing department, 403. So these are the IDs I have allocated now. Now, in this case, what happened? Now my employee details are split into the multiple tables now. The general details are available inside the employee table, and the department related information is there inside my department object. Now that means my employee data has been split to the multiple tables. Then how can we relate it here? Whenever I'm generating the report, in that report I want to show my employee personal details, contact details, his department details, everything I want to show inside a single report itself. Then how can we relate these two? So for that one, we need to map the association between these two objects. Because some part of my employee details are there inside this table, some part of the employee details are there in this table over here. Then how can we map the association between these two over here? So whenever we are mapping the association between the two objects, okay, whenever I'm mapping the association between the two objects, we have to follow two fundamental principles. Simply two steps, nothing else. Mapping the association is simply the two steps, not much. Now, whenever you are mapping the association, that means mapping the relationships, we have to follow the two rules over here, two steps we have to follow. Now, the step one. So what is the step one? Now let's see. The step one is, now we need to identify the parent object and the child object. We need to identify the parent object and the child object. That means which object is the parent object and which object is the child object. We need to identify that here. Now, so this is the first step. Now tell me, from these two objects, which one is a parent and which one is a child? Mapping the association between the two objects is exactly similar like as of human being relationships. Now, so in this case here, when you go to that normal human being relationship, So we have to identify the parent and the child. How can we do that? When coming to a parent can have multiple childs. It's a fundamental principle in our real world. Like the similar way here also, where we are having some multiple details. Now, whenever I'm having some department, every department contains how many employees? Only one or multiple? Multiple. That means here in one department, multiple employees are working over here. In the sales department, Ramesh is also working, and the Pawan is also working, and the Shravan is also working here. That means, in this case, what we can do, we can identify this department as a parent and then employee as a child. So in this case, whenever you are identifying the parent and the child objects, at that time, we don't have any such rules in the IT industry that if the table name is starting with this character, then this will be the table. If the like as parent, if the table name is starting with this character, this will be the child object. Not like that. There is no such rules. It purely depends upon your business requirement. It purely depends upon your analysis part. So that based on your analysis, based on your application requirement, based on your business requirement, we have to decide which records are dependent on what records. Based on that, you have to decide which one is a parent object, which one is a child object. In this case, between these employees and the department, now, if there is a department, then only some employees will be there. If there is no department, then there is no employees. Like the similar way, if there is a parent, then only child. If there is no parent, then there is no child. Same concept here also. Now, in this case here, we have to identify the parent and the child objects. Now, in this case, we have identified this department as the parent object over here. Department object is the parent object. And the employee object is the child object. And employee object is the child object. So we have the department and the employee. Department is the parent and the employee is the child object here. So we have these two objects are available right now. Next one. So once we have identified the parent and the child objects, then we need to map the association. So whenever we are mapping the association, from where to where we need to map the association? From child to parent or from parent to child? Upon mapping the association, always we have to map the association from child to parent, not from parent to child. Okay? Always we have to map the association from child to parent, not from parent to child. Like for example, come to a general scenario. Assume that today I went to my relative's house. Okay, I went to one of my relative's house. Then how those people will recognize me? Because of my parent. Like they can recognize me. So this person is belongs to the so and so. Like as he is a son of so and so. She is a daughter of so and so. She is a wife of so and so. That means they will recognize you because of your parents. Whenever you are filling any of the details inside that any application form, we are mentioning like that, I, some so-and-so Ramesh Kumar and son of some so-and-so Pawan Kumar. That means what? I am giving my details by introducing my parents also. Because they will recognize me because of my parents. Wherever you go, any application form, we are entering our details along with the parent. And because of your surname only they can identify, because so he belongs to so-and-so family. That means that family name is coming from where, that surname is coming from where? From the parents only. Because we are requiring so many things from the parent, so based on that they will recognize you. So always we have to map the association from child to parent, not from parent to child. Child is belongs to so and so parent, not parent is belongs to that. Parent is first, he is already there. Now a new child has been came into the world, he is belongs to that so and so parent over here. So in this case, whenever we are mapping the association between the two objects, always we have to map the association from child to parent. Then how can we map this association over here? At that time, whenever we are mapping the association, so inside this particular child object, create one field. Okay, create one additional field over here. Now this field should be related to that parent object over here. Parent object primary key column. Okay, now that's it, simple concept. Now, in this case, as a step 2, we need to map the association from child object to parent object. Then how can we map the association? In this case, that is, create a field inside the child object which should be associated with the parent object. Which should be associated with the parent object. Which should be associated with the parent object. This is the second step. That means what here? We need to create one field. So I'm creating a field inside my object over here. Inside my child object, I'm creating a field in order to store the department ID. So I'm creating one additional field over here, that is with the name department ID. Okay, department ID. In this case, Ramesh is working in which department? Sales department. Sales department can be recognized how? By using ID 401. So that this 401 we can able to place inside this. That's it. Simple. I'm storing the value over here. 401. He is working in that sales department over here, so that instead of storing the department name, I would like to store the department ID. Second employee, Pawan Kumar, is also working in the same sales department, so that 401. Suresh is working in the service department, that is 402. And the Preeti is working in that marketing department, 403. And the Sravan is working in the service department, 402. Like that, here we can able to map the association. That's it. So in this case, what happened? Whenever I'm mapping that association between the two objects, just we are going to be identifying, first of all, as a step 1, we have to identify which one is the parent object, which one is the child object first. Once you are done with that association, once you are done with that identification, then directly go to the child object and then create one additional field. Okay, create one additional field. Now this field should be having the association with this parent object over here. This field should be having the association with the parent object over here. So now in this case, you know how to create the fields? Yes, already you are aware of that. But in this case, upon creating the field, we need to select a data type, right? Yes, we need to select a data type over here. Now what is the data type for this column here? So now this field is doing what? It is mapping some association between these two. So that upon creating this additional field inside my child object, we need to select the relationship data types over here. So whenever we are mapping the association between the two objects, we have to create one additional field inside the child object which will be having some data type. So what is the data types? We need to select the relationship data types over here. Salesforce is providing the various relationship data types. Salesforce is providing the various relationship data types are available here. So what are those data types are available as part of relationship? The first one is Salesforce is providing a first data type called as lookup relationship data type. And the second one, the master detail relationship data type. Second one, master detail relationship data type. Third one, hierarchical relationship data type. And the fourth one, external object lookup relationship data type. So these are the 4 data types has been given by Salesforce as part of the relationships feature. So as part of this relationships feature, Salesforce has given that 4 data types to you. First one is the lookup relationship, second one master detail, third one hierarchical, and then fourth one external object lookup relationship. These are the 4 data types has been given by Salesforce. Now, that means from these 4, we have to select any one of the data type upon mapping the association between the two objects, okay, by creating one additional field. So upon creating this department ID column inside my child object, we have to select any one of the data type from this four. Then each and every data type is having some different functionalities, different behaviors, different features are also available here. We'll see each and every concept over here as part of this relationship concept. Now, so by using this relationships feature, by using this data types, we can able to map the various associations. So what are the various relationships that we can able to achieve? Relationships can be implemented. So what kind of associations that we can implement by using the Salesforce here? As part of Salesforce, we can implement the various associations. By using relationship data types, we can implement or we can achieve the below relationships, below associations between the objects. Then what kind of association we'll see? First one, we can able to achieve the lookup relationship, which is providing one-to-many association between the objects. Second one, the master detail relationship. This is also providing one-to-many association. And the third one, external object lookup relationship. And the fourth one, we can implement hierarchical association. And the fifth one, we can maintain many-to-many relationship. It is a 100% common question in every interview, how to map many-to-many association in Salesforce. And then, that too, there is a common question in the interview point of view. Okay, difference between lookup and the master detail associations. It is a 100% common question in every interview. Next, they will raise a question, how many types of lookup associations are available? Here we are having lookup relationship and then external object lookup relationship, these two. And then it is a common question, how can we achieve many-to-many association in Salesforce? It's a common question. And then they will raise a question in the interview point of view. So what is hierarchical association? And then what objects in Salesforce will support these hierarchical associations? It's a common question. And the next one. It's a 100% common question in every interview, how to achieve one-to-one association between the two objects. That means one parent can have only one child. If one parent can have only one child, then how can we map this one-to-one association or one-to-one relationship between the two objects? We'll see practically as part of this relationship concept over here. So with the help of this relationships feature, we can able to achieve all these 6 kinds of associations as well. Okay. So we can able to implement these 6 kinds of associations between these two objects as well. Now, so as part of these relationships, we are going to be discussing some more features also. Like, we are going to be discussing about the lookup dialog configuration. And then we are going to discuss about the lookup filter configuration. And then we have a most important question in entry point of view that is called as roll-up summary fields. So what exactly the roll-up summary fields and what is the use of this roll-up summary fields? It's a most important question. That too, it's an important feature as well. And then we'll see the concept of converting lookup relationship into the master detail. And then we'll see how can we convert the master detail into lookup relationship. And then we'll see a feature called as the standard relationships. what standard associations are available in Salesforce, we'll see practically, and then we'll see the concept of the standard junction objects also in Salesforce. Okay, standard junction objects in Salesforce. So these are the various features we are going to be covering as part of this relationship concept. So these are the various features are available as part of the relationship. So in admin part, basically we have four major features are there. First one is a relationship concept. Second one is the workflow rules. Third one is security. Fourth one is data management. Data management is a very small topic, but the security is a big topic as well. Workflow rules are the normal, and the relationship is a big topic basically. So these are the various features that we are going to be discussing as part of these relationships here. Now, so from tomorrow's morning onwards, we are starting this relationship concept over here. How to map the lookup association between the two objects we'll see practically, and what kind of behaviors the lookup relationship will provide us. So it will take a minimum 45 to 1 hour, 45 minutes to 1 hour. So we'll see that concept tomorrow morning over here. So now once you are done with this lookup relationship, then remaining associations are very easy for you. So understanding the first relationship is most important. If you have understood that lookup association, then the master detail is very simple for you. So that it's a 100% common question, difference between lookup and the master detail. Okay. Now, so tomorrow morning also we'll be having the session as it is. So now we'll be starting that lookup relationship concept tomorrow morning here. So we can able to cover that lookup association, and then if possible we'll go with that lookup dialog configuration and the lookup filter configuration also. All these three features we can able to cover in tomorrow morning session. Okay.